Hello dear friends, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Today we are making a video of a portrait in profile, and this is not just a portrait, this is a tribute, this is a glimpse into the traditions, into the history of India from the 17th century, and this is a tribute to our great master, the ninth master of the Sikhs, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. ਸੋ ਇਹ ਵੀਡੀਓ, ਇਹ ਪੋਰਟਰੇਟ ਜੋ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਬਣ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਆਪ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਿਵਾਜ਼ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਬਖਸ਼ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਬੇਸਡ ਔਨ ਦ ਸੈਡ ਟੂ ਬੀ ਓਰੀਜਨਲ ਪੋਰਟਰੇਟ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਮਿਨੀਏਚਰ ਸਟਾਈਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਬਣਾਈ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ। ਸੋ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਬੇਸਡ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਟਰਾਈਂਗ ਟੂ ਮੇਕ ਅ ਰੀਅਲਿਸਟਿਕ portrait based on the Indian miniature style reference picture of Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, which is believed to be original, created at that time. So as we have seen in the sketch, in the drawing, I used a mix of Loomis, Riely's and the animators simplifying method of drawing, and now we are on the underpainting stage. So eh jo underpainting stage hai, this is more of a Dutch master's underpainting style, underpainting in a monotone. So ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਕ raw ਅੰਬਰ ਤੇ white ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ monotonous ਇੱਕ underpainting ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ lighting ਤੇ shading, ਸਾਰਾ structure of the face, structure of the whole portrait ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡਾ already show ਹੋਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ। So this is a method of the old Dutch painters, Dutch masters. They used to paint in a one tone only with the lighting and shadows to create the depth, to create the structure of the whole painting, and then glaze with colors on top. So as we can see here, the underpainting is still being done. It is getting into the details, and I do want to mention here the method I prefer to use is a blend of different types of methods, and the reference as it comes from the Indian miniature style. The way I approach of any painting is big to small, so I try to get most of it done as much as I can with a big brush, and then take a smaller brush, get smaller details, and then take even smaller brush to get the finer details in. So here we are working on the lighting. The lighting is from the left side, from the front of the face, and we are working to get the lighting and detailing in the underpainting so that glazing can be easier. So we keep on working on the lighting for a little bit. And as we're done with the portrait, I also want to add some background in the same undertone. And now we start glazing. For the glazing, I choose the transparent pigments, the burnt sienna, viridian green, a little bit of red, and now I start working on the turban. Turban is ਦਮਾਲੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਪੁਰਾਤਨ ਸਟਾਈਲ ਦਾ ਜੋ ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੇਂਟਿੰਗ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਮਾਲਾ ਦਰਸਾਇਆ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ, ਉਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਅਗੇਨ ਅੰਡਰ ਪੇਂਟਿੰਗ I am using transparent pigments. So transparent ultramarine blue I add for the beard, which we will see how it works in the later stages. And then I add a transparent green for the dress, and also I want to add my background colors. Again, I'm trying to use as much as transparent pigments, try to avoid white or opaque pigments when we are glazing, at least in the first layers, so the light and the opaque pigments can come on top. So we are working on the background. I'm using colors, and I will be thinking as we go on how to get the background in shape. So layer 1 of glazing is done now. Layer 2 de which we are again adding the same red color, a mixture of alizarin crimson and a brilliant red, and now I'm adding a little bit of white and adding volume to the Damala Sahib. Now I come on to the Bana, to the dress. As we can see, I am adding a transparent blue on top of the green, which gives a very nice turquoise blue shine, and then add lighting and details on top. So the underpainting is helping us with creating the volume and the shading as such. And for the face, I go with a burnt sienna glaze on the whole face, on top of everything, and the blue that we had used on the beard is now magically turned into black. And after that, I start working on the lighting, on the details of the face. Now I'm working with a medium small brush and working on the structure, on the details as much as I can from the reference, as I have mentioned earlier, is from the original painting of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib ji. So the profile of the face is pretty much, I would say it's not very hard, but if we simplify and if we work on the structure before going into details, it becomes even easier to paint a portrait. So as we keep on adding details, we keep on building more and more, make mistakes, fix mistakes, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੱਧਦੇ ਹਾਂ, we keep adding details and the portrait starts coming to life. Now I'm working on the final details on the face here, and from where I will go on to work on the Damala Sahib, on the turban and the Bana. So again, I went from big to small. First I glazed with the biggest brush, then some details with the medium, and now I'm working on the final small details with the smallest brush. So now we are on to the third stage of glazing, and I start with the background this time. So to harmonize the background, I am adding a burnt umber to the whole background and some white on the light side to establish my lighting. And this also gives me an idea of how my tones and colors are working on the actual portrait. So for the final stage, I want to do the background first so that I can make adjustments to my portrait later. Now I start working on the turban, and this time I'm using a more opaque yellow ochre and raw sienna mixture with a little bit of white, because now we are working on the final details, we are working on volume, and we still can get our shading. So now here I switch over to another method of painting, which is called dot painting. I picked up my dotting tools just to imitate the design that is on the turban of Guru Sahib in the original painting. So this is the kind of texture, this is the kind of textiles they used in the 17th century. And then the Damala Sahib, the turban, it has a lot of decoration, so pearls and jewels, which I'm working on right now. So I pick up the small brush, small detailing brush, and keep working on it slowly to build up the turban. Again, these are more of design choices and the choice that I made to follow the reference, especially in the turban, just to depict the tradition, the Indian culture and the history of India, of Punjab basically, of those times. So I'm working with my dotting tools and my small brush to build up the design and the jewelry on the turban. So for the jewelry, this is, the band is made out of pearls and diamonds. So we will see how we build up the light and shadow of the whole jewelry here. Now I do want to mention that this is a speed up painting. This whole process took me more than a week, which we are seeing here in 12-13 minutes. So if somebody wants to learn or wants to follow, I would suggest please pause, look again, and try to follow the methods, try to learn the methods that I'm trying to share here. So to get the effect of pearls and some gold here, I'm using white and yellow ochre, pretty much straight out of the tube. This time I'm not doing glazing. This is a full-fledged painting here, and now I'm glazing on some flowers and designing on the turban. This here is a very tedious but very meditative process. So if you really want to get lost into your painting, if you really want to enjoy the process, I would suggest try doing something intricate like this. So you keep working on the details and keep building up the jewelry here. As we can see, this is very tedious. This is a slow process but very meditative and enjoyable. Now I start adding my pure colors to the jewelry, to the gemstones that I'm adding here, to red and one green, and then we simply add a little bit of white for details. And please be mindful that working less is better in this situation than trying to get every little detail, because we get lost in the details and then we lose the expression of the whole and the whole idea of the painting. So I try to work less, and I make sure that the details I do are going well along with the whole painting and they're not just showing as details. I want to make sure that I keep the focus where I want in the painting and not just on the details. So now we go on to the dress, to the bana of Guru Sahib, and again I'm trying to imitate the designing that is on the original reference painting. Here again I'm trying to keep it simple and keep it effective, keep it harmonized for the whole scene, for the whole painting, instead of just going for the full-fledged details in the little parts. And then finally we add the necklace that Guru Sahib is wearing in the original painting. And again, I don't want to overdo it. Just simply adding the beads and a little bit of pearls and some significant details that show us that this is what it is. And with this we sign it up and the painting is done. So I really want to thank all the viewers, all the people, whoever watches, tries to learn, who support us, and I really want to thank everybody who has been supporting us throughout the time. The prints of this painting are available. You can message or contact me if you want to buy any prints, and we also do art classes in person and online. Thank you so much.